This week's Parsha is Parshat Beha'alotecha, which is the 36th Torah portion of the Torah, and it is the third Parsha in the book of Bamidbar, which is the fourth book of the Torah. And in this week's Parsha, there are many different things going on. Towards the beginning of the Parsha, we have the first time that they are using the menorahs in the tabernacle, and so we are walked through that service and how it's supposed to work. Additionally, we are taught about Pesach Sheni, or the second Passover, which is the Passover that the people would observe when they weren't able to observe the first Passover. Essentially what happened is, if during the normal Passover that everybody else is observing, if they had contaminated themselves with a dead body, or if they lived so far away that they weren't able to make it, then there was Pesach Sheni, which was sort of a second opportunity for them to come to the tabernacle and bring their Passover offering. Essentially, the people didn't want to miss out on the chance to do a mitzvah because they were doing another mitzvah, such as burying a dead person or something like that. So this was their second opportunity, another chance to bring the Passover offering. Additionally, we go over again sort of the formation of the tribes and how they would walk together in the desert, and how Hashem had Moses sound trumpets when the Jewish people were supposed to travel and when they were supposed to stop, and it was also signaled by God's cloud, the cloud of God that sort of rested on the Jewish people when they were supposed to rest, and lifted when they were supposed to begin to travel and to journey towards the land of Israel again. But what I would like to focus on this week is the development of the Sanhedrin, which is a group of 70 elders or wise men who were appointed in this week's Parsha. Essentially what happens is the Jewish people are complaining to Moses, something that seems to happen quite often while the Jews are in the desert. So the Jews are complaining to Moses, and Moses just can't take it anymore. And he sort of says to God, why did you put the burden of all of the Jewish people of this entire nation on me? Why do I carry this burden? I can't handle this burden. And so in response, basically what happens is that God tells Moses that you shall not bear this burden alone. And his solution for this is that he has Moses appoint 70 elders, 70 wise men that are going to help him, that are going to carry the burden with him, and that are going to enable Moses not to feel like the burden of the whole people is on him, but rather it's now going to be divided between 70 wise men. And so when Moses turned to God and was feeling overwhelmed and was feeling their burden, God instructed him to share the burden and to have other people who are there to help him. And I think oftentimes in our own lives, we can feel overwhelmed or overburdened, whether that's physically like we're carrying too much, whether that's emotional burdens, whether it's that we don't have enough time to get to everything we have to do. And there are ways that we can share the burden with other people. If something is literally too heavy, we can ask somebody to help us to carry it. If we have sort of emotional burdens that are too much, we can share them with people. We can share them with family members, with friends, with people who we are close to. If we have too much to do and just cannot find the time, we can delegate tasks. We can hire people to help us get things done. There are ways in which to share a burden with others. And also, because we are Jewish people and we're a nation and we work like a family, when other people have burdens that are too heavy for them to carry, we also have to be ready to share their burdens and to take on their burdens and to help them and assist them in the ways that we can help them. And so what I think that we really can learn from this week's Parsha is that we're not supposed to take things that are difficult alone. We are supposed to help other people, and we're supposed to let other people help us. That's exactly what God told Moses when he said, you shall not bear this burden alone. It just meant that we are, as Jews, are not supposed to deal with things that are difficult or too much by ourselves. We are supposed to share them. We're supposed to get help for them. And so I hope each one of you has a wonderful week and a Shabbat Shalom.